Someone once asked me if I had been hit on by doctors. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. For those that are new, my name is Sabao Samuzimo. In this video, I'm just going to take you guys through a brief overview of my university experience, how I managed in the health sector, how I managed to be disciplined through the pandemic, and how I made money, and so on and so forth. Before we get into this video, please be sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, turn on your notifications, and let's get to it. Okay, so when I was in my first year, that should have been in like 2020 or 2021, that was around the time at which the pandemic COVID-19 had broken out. So it was quite a challenging time in the sense that most schools had closed and we were all made to go home, and I am naturally a self-driven person, so I didn't really have much difficulties in studying alone. Naturally, I don't really interact with a lot of people, so I think that put me in a space where I was comfortable enough to push myself and study on my own. That is when I was in my first year. I always wanted to be a medical doctor. I think I mentioned that in my previous video. And coming from a family that also expected me to be a medical doctor, it was quite challenging to transition into the field of pharmacy. But I think when I came to realize that I made it into the school pharmacy, it was a little challenging and it was a little difficult to accept, but eventually I think I came around to it. And with the peace of mind that I had, even my family, it wasn't so difficult for them to accept my new reality. So I had to, make the most of what I had, and yeah, I found myself in pharmacy. I spent my second year, that is at Ridgeway campus, and it was interesting. After spending my first year at home, most of my first year at home, second year, that's when I got exposed to the university setting, and it just put me in a position where I started seeing what the world is actually like. I think in university there can be a lot of distractions. I'm naturally a self-driven person, so it wasn't very difficult to adapt. But the reality was I was away from home in a town that was foreign to me, and I had to fend for myself. So yeah, I made the best of friends that is in my second year, so I had a good support system, and yeah, it really helped me. How I managed to stay self-disciplined was by always remembering where I was coming from. I always had to bear in mind the place that I was coming from, the people that I left behind at home, and how many people had been looking forward to me succeeding in what I put myself into. Sort of pushed me to stay focused, to be narrow-minded, and to look at the end prize. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think how I managed to manage my time was, I think, because of my boarding school experience. So if you have the privilege of being in a boarding school, you get to understand that every single time frame is catered for. If you need to be up at 4, you need to have breakfast at 6, you need to be in class at 7. Everything is, what can I say, it's programmed. Sometimes in university would have classes at 6 a.m, so you have to be up early, or you have a test, so you have to study till late. And yeah, it's sort of it's a whole new environment, but it also had something to do with keeping time. How did I make money when I was in university? I love baking. I think I'm a person that loves baking, so even on my YouTube channel you're gonna see some baking content, me baking cakes and stuff. So I think I'm naturally someone who enjoys good eats and stuff, so I used that to my advantage. That is especially in my 5th and final year. So I started making donuts. I'll wake up, I would make the dough the night before, let it sleep overnight, and then in the morning I would make my donuts. I'd go with them stick to my classes, my rotations, and I would make a pretty penny. How did I separate my school life from my personal life? I think I naturally, like, I did everything I could to focus mostly on education. Someone once asked me if I had been hit on by doctors. Yeah. Well, I can say yes, I was hit on. Really, it wasn't really often, because I feel when you're in a medical school, most people are like tunnel minded, like they're vision oriented. In the same way that you are vision oriented, you expect the people in your surrounding to be vision oriented. So maybe in like instances of like parties or like school programs that's outside their like school bubble, and yes, in that setting I would be hit on by doctors. Yeah, I think it depends on what people's cup of tea is. I think for me that's not necessarily my cup of tea, so I didn't really swing that way. But yeah, so that being said, what would I advise people that are in university or people in the work sector? I think it's important, especially for ladies, to be vision oriented. Like, you need to know exactly what it is that you're doing, you need to know exactly what it is that you're following, remember where you're coming from, and know exactly what your goals are and stick to them. That being said, I think my university experience was one of a kind. If you guys have any questions, if you have any topics you want me to talk about, please be sure to leave your comments down in the section below. I also want to thank you guys for clicking on this video. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your support. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, leave your comments down in the section below, and stay tuned for more content. See you guys. Love you guys.